So this might just be an excuse to make another blue dragon, but here is my Nightwing Seawing hybrid Abyss. So Abyss comes from the deepest parts of the ocean where the deep sea Seawings live, which, I mean like the deep sea, like where like you'll see like an angler fish and stuff. Anyways, she lives there and she is a scout, which means she scouts the ocean floors from any dangers. Usually there's nothing to report except like maybe a shark or two, but it's nothing really that they can't handle. Instead of having no fire like Seawings do, Abyss has this weird fire that is a blue, like it has water mixed in with it. One day Abyss found out by going above the shores that there was an ancient scroll in a cave. She realized that it was about the ancient past 1,000 years ago. There were two brothers, Comet and Void. Void was a Seawing Nightwing hybrid like her, and one was a full Nightwing hybrid. They were both animuses because they were from the Seawing royal bloodline, but their parents died just after they were hatched. And the Sea Kingdom wouldn't let them in because they didn't believe that they were the heirs to the throne. Void one day made a spell because he was jealous that Comet had fire. He made a water-like acid that would get any of his descendants would get. And because Comet had his own dragonets, this fire was passed down. Shortly after Void had made this animus spell, it drove him crazy, and his own brother had to use his own animus spell to lock him in the island where Void had made his own tribe called the Void Wings, who all look like exactly like what Abyss looks like. They're unspoken and unheard of, and they are not to be seen. They're hidden in an island away from the Sea Kingdom. Abyss realized she was on the exact island, and that's why the scroll was here, to lure any of the descendants of these two brothers that they should never unleash Void. Abyss thought about taking this information back to her own palace in the Deep Sea Kingdom, but then she realized they wouldn't approve of it either. She decided to take on this information herself and maybe go talk to these so-called Void Wings. By the way, Void Wings aren't an OC tribe. They're just literally like how the Wild Wings call themselves their own tribe, or the Sharp Wings call themselves their own tribe, if you've read book 16. So I'm not making a fan tribe. It's just they're wanting to call themselves something, so they don't even look like an other tribe. They just look different from everyone else, so they just kind of wanted to make their own society. Anyways, back to the story. Abyss was walking on the island, and she did confront two Void Wings. They looked exactly like her, and they said she looked like an old leader they used to have. They said they'll bring them to their queen. Moonblood was their queen, and she kind of looked like her, but she was a more lighter purple. She explained exactly the information Abyss had already found out. And they made a plan. It wasn't really a plan, and Abyss didn't even agree to doing anything, but Moonbird really wanted her to free Void for some reason. She refused to because the story said to never. And they said they needed an animus back. They didn't care how murderous he'd be. Abyss disliked this and went back to the Deep Palace. When everyone asked where she was, she refused to tell anybody. The leader of the Deep Sea Wings, Leviathan, wanted her to tell the whole story. She told him, and he thought that the Void Wings were just trying to find a way to get some evil unleashed. Finally, Abyss did one thing. She knew what to do. She went back to the cave and saw the scroll had glowed. This time, instead of being a normal scroll, the scroll was glowing, and it unlocked a crystal. It was on a chain necklace. Abyssal knew this must be what she had to do. She brought it to the Void Wings and used it against Moonbud, which, by her surprise, Moonbud was under a spell of voids. Then there was a new part of the scroll that was hidden before. Every leader of the Void Wings was possessed by Void, and this was the only way to stop it. She asked Moonbud if this happened before. Moonbud also confessed that she had to do it to her own mother. It's a non-stopping process. She knew it wasn't that easy, and Abyss had to find a way to somehow free these dragons from a mind control. Moonbud said that there is a giant cavern in the Void Wings palace that nobody can walk in, like there's a barrier or something around it. Every time somebody tries to walk into it, it just shoots them back. Abyss thought maybe this is something Void did that only maybe his descendants would. But Moonbud was a descendant, wasn't she? Or maybe a descendant from Comet's side. And Abyss knew that she was a descendant from Comet's bloodline on his side and not Void's. So she agreed that she would go to those caverns and find the cure. While she was on her way to the cavern, she saw that the Void Wings had a maybe princess. At least, it was Moonbud's daughter. Her name was Black Pearl, and she was a black and white Seawing. Apparently, she had no Nightwing powers. She just had the little white scales going along her neck and tail, and the ones on her wings. But she said that her mom said that she might have powers, they just haven't connected to her. But Black Pearl explained that she knew that they wouldn't just pop up. And Abyssal kind of agreed, because you're usually born with the powers. Although the unusual thing about Black Pearl is that she did have a teardrop silver scale. Was she an empath, maybe? Abyss wasn't for sure. When she arrived at the cavern, she told Black Pearl to go back to the palace, or else she'd be shot back. She nodded and went back to the palace towards Moonbud. To her surprise, Abyssal was right. She was able to walk through the caverns. She didn't know what she was looking for in here, but something. She passed by all the normal glowing crystals. They didn't seem too important. Then, sitting on a pedestal at the end was a bright glowing crystal. Abyss knew that was the one she needed to get, and she grabbed it. Then something appeared right in front of her. She realized this was the ghost of Void, right in front of the cure. He hissed and snarled at her, but didn't actually speak words. She took the crystal and ran out. She hoped that maybe she could stop it now. She thought by the time she ran out of the caverns, he wouldn't be able to follow her. Suddenly, the barrier broke, and Comet's brother Void was free. Abyss panicked, but she knew what she had to do. She had to bring the crystal back to Moonbud. She rushed to the palace, gave the crystal to Moonbud. Nothing happened, though. Then she remembered her fire and how it was enchanted, and she used that to stop Void. Alright guys, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this story. I really enjoy this OC. She's pretty cool, and I really like the whole deep sea thing. So be sure to like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.